What's happening? Fourth hour, hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio is upon you, upon us. Blessed to bring it to you, courtesy of All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, and Rhett Bryan, of course, Titans Radio on Wednesdays pops in the final hour. We're going to scout the Texans for a minute or two. There's not that much to get into, and we got into it not that long ago. But Derrick Henry, of course, is a story. Expected to return to practice today. Diana Rossini reported people are coming at Adam Schefter today because he said that he wasn't going to be back this season originally. When
Who
it
went
happened.
at him again?
Pretty much all the Titans.
Everybody.
A lot of Titans Twitter. A lot of Titans Twitter. Look,
Right on par.
he was almost right. He almost didn't come back for the regular season, although we don't know if he's actually going to play until the playoffs. I know Rossini's tweet even said it's a long shot that he would play against Houston. And if you want to join us, you can call all of us if you want at 615-737-1045. So we'll scout here in just a second, but Rhett, obviously the Derrick Henry news, we kind of suspected it after Vrabel talked on Monday.
Yeah, he tipped the hat a little bit.
Yeah, he definitely greased the skids a bit. So do you want to see him Sunday, or you
No,
more of the wait?
here's where I stand, and this is not going to be a popular opinion with all of our folks that listen to the Zone and Twitter, Titans Twitter. Now, listen, I put out a tweet last night, and it's a picture of his jersey over the locker, and that was, you know where that was? That was Kansas City in the AFC.
That's in the away locker room.
AFC Championship game 2 years ago. Anyway, you don't need him this week.
Yeah.
Deontay Foreman's rushed for 300 yards for 100 yards in 3 of his last 5 games.
Yeah.
And as a team, you've run for almost 200 yards. You rushed for 201 against Pittsburgh, 198 against the Dolphins Sunday, which is a good defense. So you've got all that in place. You don't need it. Look, here's the thing. Here's where I weigh on this. First of all, if he returns to practice today and he practices, then he'll go in the training room in the morning.
Yep.
He'll meet with Todd Torricelli and the doctors, and they'll look at the foot and go, okay, any discomfort, any swelling? Okay, good. Let's practice again on Thursday. And they'll keep going like that until they, feel like everything's ready. But no, I would just want to get him as many practice reps as possible to get in there, because he hadn't forgotten how to run the dang football.
No.
Okay? And to your point earlier, Ramon, I heard you earlier this morning. You're right. This is not a soft tissue thing. This isn't the mental part of having to get over, I've had that ACL fixed or an Achilles.
Yeah.
This is a broken bone of foot. He's going to know whether this is right or not. Mm-hmm. And he hadn't forgotten how to run. The one thing that he needs to get back into practice to do, and this is something nobody's bringing up, I want him back in there so that he and Tannehill can get refreshed with the play-action passing game.
Yeah.
That's what I want them to get timing back down on those things because that makes Ryan Tannehill we know how dangerous that makes him in this deal. So to answer your question in a roundabout way, no, I don't want to see him Sunday. I want them to go take care of business and have an extra week to get ready and bring him into the divisional rounds.
So, Rhett, this is what I have for you as far as that goes. The comparisons have been there. It's taking 3 guys to do what Derrick Henry has done in the first half of the season, but they've done those things. The standard has stayed the same. Mm-hmm. If that's the situation we're in, I'm asking you, why bring back Derrick Henry? Because that's been asked.
Why bring him back at all?
And I know why. I call him the boogeyman. Like, everybody's scared of the boogeyman, but I'm asking you then, why bring him back then if everything stayed the same?
Now, you talking about why bring him back Sunday or period?
Period.
So you talking playoffs too?
And that's where I'm at. I'm asking because initially I was just like, save him to next year because I didn't understand what the breakdown of this bone break was.
No. I want him in the playoffs.
Okay. And for what reasons? Talk to me, Rhett.
Selfishly?
Come on. Yeah.
I want them to host an AFC Championship game, and I want them to run for 250 on Kansas City.
Okay. There it is.
And keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. That's what I want.
Yep. And I get that now, understanding what this injury is and how you go about it too, because the idea that a lot's going to change in this offense, I don't think so. But it's the idea that Derrick Henry poses a home run threat every single time. He brings up a lot of stink to the box as far as 8, 9, 10-man boxes and the opportunities for everybody else. That's where – and now it's not just Deontay Foreman. You actually got a name on who the culprit is. and it's Derrick Henry.
Sure.
Now you recognize him. He's the threat. And because of that, everybody else eats.
That's right. And the other thing I heard you say earlier too, and you're right about this, the box has still been loaded.
Yeah.
On that Deontay Foreman touchdown run Sunday, there was 10 guys in the box.
I saw that. I saw.
And there were so many crowded, he got the right cut and got past the first wave. And when he got to just the edge of the second level, see you later.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got stuck looking at a fan side piece.
Okay.
Matt Lombardi. This narrative is just going to be everywhere, apparently. Matt Lombardo, pardon me. It's his like weekly column or whatever for Fansided, and Tanier had retweeted it. It's where I saw it. And the first topic is Titans may be most underwhelming number 1 seed in memory. What do those inside the NFL think of their chances? That narrative is just going to be everywhere, isn't it? Like, it doesn't matter because that doesn't win and or lose football games, but it's just like, gosh, it's just like everybody is finding a way to backhanded compliment this.
Yeah, it's already started. It started Sunday. Ross Tucker put out the tweet with basically the same thing about how, well, this is a weak number 1 seed, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
And, of course, Titans Twitter went after him.
Of course.
But it's like, look, man, and listen, I've said this on y'all's show I don't know how many times. For everybody listening, please quit worrying about national respect.
Yeah.
Because until they hoist a Lombardi trophy and you make them put your name in their mouths, it's just not going to be a thing. We don't live in Chicago. We don't live in Dallas. We don't live in Los Angeles or New York. And it's just the thing I would get on the bandwagon with all Titans Twitter is if Mike Vrabel isn't coach of the year, I'm storming the castle. Because that's a joke if he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
But everything else, it's just going to take care of itself one way or the other. Let them go out there and do it on the field, and let them prove. And like Kevin Byard has said all season, not prove everybody else wrong. Prove
me right.
Right.
Yeah. Prove me right.
Yeah, I mean, again, they can say whatever they want. If you win the Lombardi, you won the Lombardi.
Sticky Lombardi.
And they're going to have nothing to say other than the headline is just going to be, are the Titans the most undeserving Super Bowl champion of all? Like that, and that's just going to keep on happening.
Because you've got the hardware.
Yeah. And again, if you continue to stack up wins, eventually it does turn. Green Bay is one of the smallest markets in pro sports, period. But they have all this tradition, and so it works.
Yeah.
If you're a small market team, but you win, all of a sudden that can flip for you. But it takes sustained success to get there. And we talked about this, Rhett. The Titans had it in like 2003, somewhere in that neighborhood, because with McNair and Eddie George and those teams, it was building momentum.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then this team was mismanaged at the quarterback spot for a while. It just didn't work. They weren't able to maintain it, and they fell into NFL obscurity.
Well, they had a salary cap purge in 2005, and the team was probably kept together a year too long, and so you had a poison pill in Steve McNair's contract, and that was kind of ugly at the moment. And then he ends up being a Baltimore Raven, and you lose Derek Mason, you lose Samari Rolle. I mean, you just start checking the list off, and you had to have a salary cap purge, and then for quite some time you never recovered from that. Because you missed on a couple of franchise quarterbacks along the way, and that'll set you back. Listen, Coach Mack and I were talking about this last night on the season finale of Mac Talk. Amy Adams Strunk, Kenneth Barclay, the ownership group, they deserve a whole lot of credit to where this thing is, because they saved this franchise, Jason. That thing was going down a bad road till they took it over.
Yeah.